Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Today we're gonna make a video talking about which UFC fighters are industry plants. My name is Omar. I'm here with Luca.
What's up?
And without further ado, let's just get right into it. First person on here, Gene Silva.
I'm leaning between S and A. I feel like
You
that
think he's
goes
an
with all the
industry
fighting
plant?
nerds. I feel like all the fighting nerds are to a point, but they're all just so good. I'd probably put him at A. He loses to Diego Lopez. He doesn't get that, he doesn't get that much of a drop in competition. He still fights Arnold Allen. Yeah, they're really trying to promote this guy. I mean, as they should. He's one of the most exciting fighters. He's got a wild personality. I'd say he does have a touch of that Dana White privilege.
Dricus Duplessis. Nobody said anything about dogs, bro. I love that. I love that line by him. He doesn't really get any favorable matchup.
He had to grind his way to the top, He wasn't just given, like an unfair title shot. He had to get through.
And they kind of screwed him a little bit after he fought Robert Whitaker. They gave him a title shot like a couple months later. They didn't really give him any recovery time, and that caused him to not be able to take that fight, and that's why Sean Strickland took the title fight instead. I might be leaning maybe even the sacrificial lamb kind of.
I wouldn't, just because he's the champion. It's hard to not have a little bit of privilege when you're a champion.
Yeah.
I would have just put him in neutral because he had to work his way up. He wasn't really disrespected that much when he was a champion. They gave him a rematch with Strickland before they gave him Chimaev. I thought it was pretty neutral for Dana White privilege. Not too much, not too little.
Yeah, it makes sense. The sacrificial lamb, that was just one fight, I guess, the one that he dropped out of, which would have been against Izzy and would have been short term. But other than that, I don't know, maybe you can say when they gave him Hamzat, but that was like inevitable. So
yeah, for sure. Can't blame him for that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think he's neutral. Next we have Armin Sarkarian, real thing. So I'm gonna put him at Dana's op. Dana does not like him. We know this. Dana said, I think Dana hinted at it.
Nina Drama does though. That counts for something.
Hey, with the camera guy.
I swear, a new video of him and Drama, I feel like a new video of them drops like every day.
Every day they get closer and closer, kind of like her.
I saw a video today, bro. They grapple like once a week. I swear.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, Dana White hates him. Dana White's number one enemy right now, I think.
Him or Mobster.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into.
All right, next. Paulo Costa. I know he's done a couple things like on social media that pissed Dana White off a little bit.
I mean, I feel like he also be like withdrawing from a lot of fights too,
Yeah, that's true.
You got to take that into consideration. Was he supposed to move up at one point? I don't remember. As he says a lot of things that don't happen, I don't think he's Dana's favorite guy.
Said he's moving up to light heavyweight. I forgot who he was fighting.
Was it Mirzakhanov?
Yeah, it was Mirzakhanov, yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
I think Azamat kills him.
In terms of like people in the rankings he could fight, they gave him like a solid good guy up in the rankings. They didn't just give him like a bum, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that shows like a little bit of favor towards him. Maybe neutral? Should we stick with neutral until we could think of something maybe? Next up, Colby Covington. I think he's one of Dana's ops, right?
I don't know. I feel like in his prime, you think he would have been one of his ops if we're just counting his prime? Conservative white dudes who are bald, so they got that.
He did give him he
got a lot of title shots even though he was inactive.
Yeah, I gotta.
And he got chances. He got so many chances too. I don't know. I would put him in this next to Gene Silva, especially in his prime.
He got
just
Leon.
Because he generated a lot of attention and he was a big name. That's why I'd put him up there.
And he got the Leon Edwards title shot for no reason, just squatting in the rankings. Yeah, that's a little bit of Dana White privilege. All right, next up, Dustin Poirier. I feel like everything that he gets is kind of deserved. Like, he's a veteran of the game.
He's never been champ.
Yeah, he's never been champ. He's never gotten, like, title fights for no reason. He's had to claw his way to the top.
I mean, he's challenged for the belt 3 times, though, right? I mean, that's still a lot for...
But he's consistently been in the top of the rankings. Like, he beat BSD when everyone thought he was washed.
Who did you pick in that fight?
I thought BSD was going to win. I thought Poirier was getting older. He just came off that KO against Justin Gaethje. But yeah, he performed really well. And then he got the title shot against Islam. That might have been a little bit of Dana White privilege, that title shot. But
if there was a tier like between A and B, that's what I'd put him. He's just a really respected guy. He's always gonna throw a war. He's like one of the biggest assets in UFC, maybe in history. That's why I put him in Dana White privilege, just because how big of a name he is in the whole organization, and all he's done for the UFC. He wasn't even a title contender, and he got a main event just because he was retiring. I'd put him at A.
But do you think the privilege comes for like a reason, or is it like unwarranted?
I thought it was earned. If you get a main event pay-per-view just because you're retiring, you're not even close to the belt. I mean, you're not even, right there for the belt either. That's a little bit of privilege. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. We could put him at the bottom of the Dana White privilege category. Next up, Volkanovski. He's kind of neutral. Like I
was thinking the same thing. Everything he's done, he's earned it.
Yeah, he had to fight to get a double champ opportunity. They gave him Max Holloway a bunch of times.
They were waiting for Max to beat him, but I've never heard between like him, starting anything or being controversial. I think he's also one of the UFC's, greatest assets, but I put him in neutral. I think Poirier definitely gets more love by Dana. I think Volk is right to be a tier under.
On to the next one. Leon, boy, don't make him bully you, son. I put him at Sacrificial Lamb. He's our first Sacrificial Lamb, I think.
Oof.
They gave him Bilal. Right after that, they gave him Sean Brady, which was a bad matchup, obviously, because of his grappling. And then right after that, they gave him Carlos Prates.
The bet has the best power in the UFC, in my opinion.
I feel like they don't really care for his well-being.
Yeah, and he's boring, not a big personality. Dana probably smiled when Bilal won that night, but
other than the headshot dead, other than that, he hasn't really done much for the
also
UFC.
I just feel weird about putting champs on Sacrificial Lambs.
There's a couple champs here that were Sacrificial Lambs that I would put in that category. Okay. I think that his time came, and once it was gone, the UFC was willing to just throw him away. He got sacrificed. Moving on, Tony Ferguson might be neutral.
Yeah, neutral or Dana Zop. Yeah,
he's kind of the one that coined the term Dana White privilege.
Yep.
And that was against Michael Chandler.
I was just thinking about his losing streak, but go on.
He's just been really unlucky throughout his whole career.
With the mental health.
Not only with the mental health, but missed title shots. Like, he should have had a title shot with Khabib on so many different occasions. Did he cancel like 3 fights with Khabib? Yeah, the first one I think I got canceled because Khabib got injured, something like that. The second one, Tony got injured, and then COVID happened too. And at one point they were on the same card, but it was the one where it was Khabib versus Conor, and he was like the co-main. He should have been the one to fight Khabib. He should have had a title shot. And then he gets the interim, and they give him Justin Gaethje because he's not able to fight Khabib, and then he loses his belt. It's just so unlucky, and he never gets the title shot. And then after that, he never wins in the UFC. It's just been really unfortunate.
I agree.
Kind of Sacrificial Lamb, because they did feed him to...
towards the end of his career, I'd agree.
They did feed him to, like, Patty and...
Gaethje, Michael Chandler.
Yeah. The first two, I guess, they weren't really intentional, because,
he was still highly ranked.
Max Holloway, either neutral or Dana White privilege.
He's in the same, position as Dustin, in my opinion, but... a little less. I can't really point to like a specific, time where he's gotten, a lot of Dana White privilege. Maybe like a third title shot against Volk, but can you really blame him? He was beating everybody else in that division.
Yeah, he was kind of
the matchup. I thought the matchup with the Poirier was fair too. I'd say he's neutral. I think he's one of the biggest assets the UFC has, one of the biggest names, but I don't think that's gotten him that much privilege. I still think I just think he's still really good. And plus, like, you could argue he's like one of the more deserving, lightweights who deserve a title shot. When you really think about it, other than Armin, I feel like Max is pretty deserving. You just beat Dustin and Gaethje.
Yeah, and he might be Charles Oliveira too next.
Oh, I'm picking him for sure.
On to the next one.
Industry plant.
Sean O'Malley. Imagine not putting Sean O'Malley in industry plant. He was procured by the UFC ever since the Dana White Contender Series.
They built him in a lab. I don't even know. Like, hey, you gotta change your hair color. We need some marketing.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, Dana White Contender
We're gonna call it the Sugar Show.
I feel like the Dana White Contender Series is a manufacturing plant for industry plants.
That's true, and we gotta talk about that rematch with Marab.
The instant.
What on
rematch?
earth was that?
Come on.
And that was one of the worst performances I've seen in a main event too all year.
I think it was the worst championship performance by a champion. But yeah, like how do you do worse in your
Yeah,
second
and you could
fight?
say that Aljo knockout was kind of early too.
Yeah, it was kind of an early stoppage. The Peter Yan robbery.
You know, they're not matching him with Umar. They know he's gonna lose that one.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Peter Yan robbery. He's a staple for industry plants, but let's still not forget. You know, he's elite. You know, he was a champ for a reason.
Yeah, it
But
wasn't
no hate to.
undeserved.
Yeah, he was deservingly the champ, but he does show a lot of signs of Dana White privilege.
And yeah, he's the UFC's golden boy. They love him.
Oh
And-
yeah, he's like the only, the best American we've got on the roster too, and that probably plays a role into it too.
Like he's an industry plant. He just came out of nowhere. Had freaking Snoop Dogg commentating his fights early on in the Dana White Contender Series.
I did not know that.
Next up, DC.
I'd probably put him at A.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was thinking. Dana White privilege. He's like the company guy, he doesn't
Like
really...
he is like one of the faces of the UFC now.
Mm-hmm.
But when we look at his fighting days, how would you categorize that?
I mean,
in terms of this?
I still think he had Dana White privilege when he fought John Jones, and Dana White calls him after the fight, and he's like, "You know what? I like the fight. Here's $1 million." Like, come on, that's Dana White privilege, bro. And then he gets to be a commentator too after, well, not even after he retires. Like while he's fighting, they give him a job as a cushy desk job as a commentator. Like,
would you put him in industry plant, or would you say that's a stretch?
No, because he was in the Olympics. He
Oh yeah, it's deserved.
he paved
I
his
mean,
way up.
at this point, he's got his own show. He's a commentator.
Like,
They use him for all these Instagram reels and everything too. I don't know.
He was the second person to become double champ.
I mean,
I feel like
should have won the fight
that comes with like a little bit of Dana White privilege.
a little bit.
So I wouldn't say he has the most, but like I think he and Dana are like best friends. Like,
Oh
you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like he's kind of like the UFC's mouthpiece a little bit. They love DC. He's like the company guy. He never, he doesn't ever do anything wrong. He's our guy. He's the UFC's guy, and that comes with a little bit of Dana White privilege.
Hamzat
Chimaev.
Dana White privilege.
I don't know, because he's done like a lot of things to kind of
He does,
get
but
to the position.
Dana's always said this dude's special. I mean, they gave him a lot of free fights. I feel in the beginning, against Kevin Holland. I feel like it was just to showcase the grappling. I just felt like he skipped the contender grind a little bit because he was so good. I mean, as he should, but he still got hella chances after he was sick for so long, so many cancellations. Miss weight, inactivity. I think he has a little bit of it. If not that, maybe neutral. I just want to hear your take on this.
Yeah, I think it might be neutral. I feel like he didn't get the shots for no reason. They didn't give him a safe path either. Like they gave him Gilbert Burns,
Kevin Holland,
who was pretty good back then.
I guess they gave him Usman right after the Leon.
That's what I was gonna say. They gave him Usman, Robert Whitaker too, who was pretty good back then.
Don't sleep on Li Jingliang, the leech.
He wasn't submitted before Hamzat submitted him.
And Gerald Mearshart.
I don't know about that.
He's top 10 in wins all time in UFC.
Okay.
Wait, actually, is he? I just made that up. I just feel like he's maybe top 10 in submissions or something.
All right, next
Conor
up,
McGregor.
Conor
McNuggets.
He's at least Dana White privilege. He's gotten
You don't think he's
many opportunities that a regular fighter would not get.
Yeah, but he also blew up the sport, sort of. He is, the biggest UFC fighter of all time.
Yeah, that's true. I think he's at least Dana White privilege. He's gotten two different belts in 2 divisions without defending them once.
He hasn't fought in 3 years. Is he on the roster? I don't even know.
I don't know if he's in the testing pool. He wanted to fight Nate Diaz in welterweight. They gave it to him. He lost that fight, and then they gave him a rematch, and then he won the rematch, and right after that, they give him a title shot. That's just crazy. And then he get, the Mayweather fight.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how Dana feels about
you don't
his
blame
fighters.
him. It's a company trying to market its biggest star at the time. So I don't blame him as much for the Sean Malley stuff. That's why I put him a tier below Sean Malley.
But it's just I feel like it's unparalleled, how they treated Conor McGregor. But he was the UFC's biggest star. But when you look back, Chuck Liddell, I don't think he got the treatment that Conor McGregor got.
Yeah, but you're comparing Chuck Liddell with Conor McGregor.
but he was kind
You
of
you just
there.
gotta get a
kind
broader
of.
context of how big he was.
He's at least Dana White privilege.
Yeah.
Next up, Bo Nickel. We know this. We know this already. He's an industry plant.
What, for the sport or for like collegiate wrestling or what?
He's an industry plant.
Because he's American or what?
Coming off the Dana White's Contender Series first off, which is an industry plant factory.
Yeah.
And then
He gets like 3 cans in a row.
Yeah, he wins a couple fights against cans. Didn't they put him on the main event of one of the pay-per-views or something like that?
Was that Paul Craig or Cody Brundage?
First of all, he was on UFC 300.
He was main event of UFC 300, right?
Main event UFC 300. And then they were gonna do the same thing. They put him on 322 on the main card, and then they had to switch him off last second because people were complaining. Come on, that's Dana White privilege, and he was coming off a loss when they did.
Yeah, you're right. He did get a crazy knockout, but he is an industry plant. You know, the more you talk about it, yeah, it does sound like it. They really try to promote these like American stars, but it's just Nickel doesn't have the same charisma or marketability as Sean O'Malley.
And I don't know if he's as good in his division as Sean O'Malley.
But you could tell like the trains died down significantly.
Yeah, after what happened with RDR where he just wilted like that. He did get the KO, the head kick, but to get roasted by Colby Covington and Luke Rockhold like that, he lost a lot of aura after that. But yeah, I think he is an industry plant. The UFC is like trying hard to promote him. But yeah, I think he's an industry plant. Next up, Jan Blachowicz. Might be like neutral, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's been around forever, he's fought like everybody at this point. He's fought Alex, Magomed, Glover, Izzy.
Just coming off that.
I think he's neutral. I don't really have that much to say about him.
Yuri Prochazka. Let's go for that. He's kind of neutral too, right?
I'd say so, yeah. I don't think he's too much of an industry plant. You could point, getting the rematch with Alex. He is really marketable, but I feel like he's really had to earn his way, especially early in his career when he didn't have as much hype, especially like in his come up, like the fight with Glover. I feel like that's what got him the attention, more so his fighting style, which was pretty unorthodox. I'd say it's a good example of neutral.
Beneil Dariush, the current Unk of the UFC. Sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, especially in this point of his career.
They're just feeding him to guys like they fed him to BSD, gets knocked
Armin,
out first round.
Charles,
Charles.
He's really had his chin exposed. He got dropped by Moicano too. Every time he fights, it's pretty funny. The fact he's got gray hair too. He's quiet. He's not the most exciting fighter. He's everything Dana doesn't want in an industry plant. So yeah, you'd have to put him all the way in the bottom.
Yeah, like imagine this guy back in the early years of the UFC when everyone was, roided out and like angry and stuff. Like, that would not fit in at all. But yeah, they're definitely sacrificing him.
And from sacrificial lambs to industry plant. Exactly. Like in Paddy Pimblett.
Paddy the Batty. We've seen him get fraud checked. You know that Dana White was upset when that happened. You know that he was fuming when he had to put the belt around.
The fact that I knew who he was before I started watching UFC. That's how big of an industry plant this dude. This was back when he was like one of the lowest ranked flyweights. He gets Jared Gordon gets robbed against him. They don't want his career to to have a bad start. And then he gets some more cans, and then his big fight is with Bobby Green. He submits him, then he gets his hype, he gets his theme song. Everybody's wearing wigs. He says the right stuff all the time. He clip farms. You know who to give him next? For a title shot, Michael Chandler. Is he gonna beat a 38-year-old guy who's on a 4-fight losing streak? I wonder. And straight to Justin Gaethje for the interim chance. What are we doing? This is why you and me picked Justin Gaethje. We knew this guy was an industry player.
Y'all didn't believe us.
When it came down to the end of the day, Gaethje was the pick. And I don't know why he was minus 250.
Paddy Pimblett's a classic industry plant. They hyped him up. They wanted him to be the next Conor McGregor.
He speaks English. He's got a funny personality.
Both from UK. I know Ireland's not in the UK, but like
I'm a Scouser.
We don't get knocked out.
And he's really forcing this rivalry with Ilya. He's just rage baiting the hell out of him. He really wants that fight, but he's not gonna get it anymore. So that's pretty nice to see. I thought his whole beef with Ilya was pretty industry plant coded.
And it was like before Ilya even moved up.
Remember when Ilya knocked out Charles and they let Paddy in the cage post-fight? Like, what are we doing? You just beat Michael Chandler.
Yeah, that's aged poorly now.
Armin was there in the stands in his cuck chair as usual. Like I don't get this, man.
Classic industry plant. He couldn't be more of an industry plant. Only way is if he was in the Dana White Contender Series, which, as we all know, is an industry plant factory, as I said.
Yeah, Movsar.
Movsar Evloev. I think
this is one of Dana's ops.
Dana's ops, yep.
If you want to be Dana's ops, get a lot of finishes, call out of fights, and be inactive. That's the big 3 for Movsar.
It's kind of like he's had an overdue title shot, kind of like Arman Tsarukyan. But
yeah, like you beat Aljo in his prime, like he should definitely get a title shot after that. When you beat Lopez, Arnold Allen, and Aljo, you know, on a winning streak, and you don't get a title shot, and then your reward is Aaron Pico. You're Dana's ops. You're one of Dana's ops.
Ankalaev, another op. Another Dana op.
Dana doesn't like these Dagestanis. Yeah, I mean, it took him forever to get a title shot against Alex. They knew that was Alex's toughest fight. I thought he was going to get that shot after Johnny Walker, but then he had to fight Rockets after that for no reason. Like, what was the point of that fight? But, you know, they were upset when they gave him, you know, the decision against Alex. Looking back, it was the right decision. Boy, when Alex got that belt back, you knew the UFC was hype.
You know, not even mentioning the robbery fight when he fought Jan Blachowicz. It was a draw. Even Jan Blachowicz said that he thought that Ankalaev won that fight. And it's just crazy how long it took him to get another chance to get the belt.
Yeah, you can see just a lot of these guys in the bottom. They're just like really quiet, you know, compared to a lot of the top guys.
Yeah,
it's just a correlation.
He had to get his manager to, you know, do all his trash talking for him, which eventually led to his downfall. You know, after the tire comment and tire shot thing. Israel Adesanya. I manifested this. He's Dana White privilege.
When you got backup dancers in your I don't know.
When you walk out to the Undertaker,
he just seems like an act.
Well, you know, Dana doesn't let regular fighters do that.
He just thinks he's in an action movie, and they tried promoting it for a while. They tried to convince us he was entertaining when he wasn't. I'm sounding like a hater right now. I mean, he's one of the GOATs in that division. You know, he deserved a lot of what he got. I thought he deserved the double belt opportunity, too. What do you think?
I think he did deserve, but like the theatrics, you know, they don't let regular fighters walk out with dancers on either side of them. Conor McGregor, for example, like when he walked into the arena and there was fog surrounding him.
Would you put industry plant for him or not? Or
Adesanya?
I feel like during his fall off, I feel like he wasn't. He doesn't get enough love anymore.
They did give him a weak version of Anderson Silva. And
oh yeah, for sure.
After he loses the belt to Sean Strickland, they give him like a title shot against DDP. Come on, might be able to move him to industry plant just because of that. What do you think?
And his whole thing with Alex too was we'll see.
We'll leave him there because like I don't think he has like more privilege than Conor McGregor. Bilal Muhammad, Dana's White's up. Dana hated him.
Yeah, tried his best not to market this guy.
He's Palestinian.
They fed into the hate, unfortunately, with the security guards not knowing his name. Like, what the fuck? That was disrespectful.
It took him such a long time to get a title shot opportunity.
Exactly, and he was deserving.
They just don't like him. CM Punk, that guy was an industry plant. They wanted so bad to have, you know, a Brock Lesnar type guy coming off from the WWE. You know, oh, they don't know how to fight, but, you know, when you put them in the octagon and you train them good enough, they'll learn how to fight. Nope, that did not happen. They gave him 2 fights. One of them, I think he got finished. The second one, he was like toying around with him, and Dana White ended up cutting that guy even though he beat him. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
Industry plant, like, they really wanted to make a star out of CM Punk, but it ended up backfiring.
Oh yeah, this is an obvious example. I mean, yeah, what do you expect when a WWE star goes to the UFC? Like, are we serious? Total industry plant. They just wanted some more, you know, some more views, some more clicks. Like, how did they not expect this to happen? You know?
Yeah, I think it's just another instance of the UFC embracing the fantasy. Like, they think it's like Peaches and Creamville. Like, no, like, you gotta accept reality. WWE stars aren't fighters. John Bones Jones.
Oh, Dana White privilege.
Classic Dana White privilege.
All we gotta talk about this one, just go through a list or something.
All of his things that he did, and he's still allowed back in the UFC.
What was that thing where they had to cancel a whole event because he dropped out of the main card or something?
They had to cancel something because he didn't want to fight Chael Sonnen.
Oh my God, Stipe Miocic.
Not just that, but they give him God.
Oh yeah, like oh my God, here John, your first opponent's gonna be this guy who can't grapple.
He gets a title shot super early in his career. They knew they were able to market him. He was like the youngest champ. Thing where Dana White's like, oh, he's pound for pound #1. No, he's hella inactive. He doesn't fight.
He takes roids.
He ducked Tom Aspinall for the longest time and they didn't strip him.
He robbed Don McReyes. Yeah, exactly.
He's done so many bad things, and the UFC's just let him slide. This is classic Dana White privilege. The only reason I wouldn't move him up to industry plant is because he actually has like a career. He actually like has like a history of MMA, and like he actually like started from the bottom. Like he wasn't curated to be a champ. But yeah, Michael Chandler, another example of
industry plant.
Someone with I would put you know what? He's at least Dana White privilege.
Yeah.
We could move him up to industry plant. He was in Bellator and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's a Bellator legend.
Yeah,
I don't think it's industry plant. But like a title shot after beating Dan Hooker, I don't know. He was marketed as like the next big phenom too. Like they really pushed for him. They gave him a rematch with Charles too.
He's just always fighting these upper echelon fighters, even though he ends up losing. But like even Tony Ferguson, as Tony Ferguson said, you have Dana White privilege, and he does. Yeah. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, Dana's op. They did not like Demetrius Johnson. His whole career, he's had to face problems with the UFC, and that's why he eventually left. His first loss against Henry Cejudo, they immediately trade him for Ben Askren. Come on, like, is that what you do to a champ? Imagine like they traded John Jones for like some bum that let me not call him a bum, but like he was a bum at the time, that got knocked out by Jorge Masvidal in like 3 seconds or something. They traded a champ, and that was the only trade ever that they've ever done to this day. They hated Demetrius Johnson. They didn't pay him what he was worth. People didn't really care about flyweight back then, and he was super dominant. But like they could have marketed him better. He had like good submissions, like he had the flying armbar and stuff like that. He had marketability. He could have been like their DC. He could have been the DC. He was like a nice guy. Like he could have been like a company guy if like they paid him what he was worth. But yeah, they just hate him. He's Dana White's out. And now like Dana White's like trying to backtrack, saying like, oh, I never did any of that. When you roll back the tape, Dana White, you did not treat him like how you should have treated him. You traded him. Ngannou, same thing as Demetrius Johnson, Dana White's op. Dana White didn't like him, and he's still like talking trash about him to this day.
Well, yeah, and he's still one of the best heavyweights in the world regardless.
I don't know all the details. I don't know like all the contract stipulations and stuff, but I feel like when you have a champ like Ngannou, like you can give him what he's worth. You could give him a little bit more money. Like they could have had John Jones versus Ngannou, but they didn't pay Ngannou what he was worth. He ended up leaving. Aljamain Sterling, sacrificial lamb.
You think so?
Yeah, I think after Sean O'Malley was to get the title shot, they just did not like him at that point. They wanted Sean O'Malley to be champ so bad. They gave him like a short notice fight against Sean O'Malley. They knew like Sean O'Malley was gonna knock him out. They knew they wanted that. They just did not put him in a good position. I feel like right now they're just gonna be sacrificing him to the good guys.
Ilia
Topuria. He gotta have like Dana White privilege a little bit.
You thought really? I feel like he's pretty neutral.
I don't know.
All things considered.
They'd let him move up off of one defense against Max Holloway.
Yeah, but he was on a winning streak against Volk and Max.
He could have had more defenses.
I mean, if you knock out Max, and I just think he's too much of a phenom where you can't really judge. I feel like you can justify privilege with him just because how good and how dominant he's been, I think it's just a rare situation. He's like a Conor McGregor, but without the Conor McGregor treatment, If
you compare him to like Islam Makhachev, Islam had to get like 4 defenses before he moved up, and that whole time he wanted to fight Leon Edwards. Like he beat Charles Oliveira, he beat Volkanovski twice, and then he had to beat Moicano before he ended up moving up.
Sure, but he's a grappler though. It just differs a little bit.
But he did knock out Volkanovski.
He did.
And he did, like the way he submitted Charles Oliveira, who he had the most amount of submissions in the UFC.
I feel like he could be capable of having, McGregor stardom, but I just don't think he has it. Even though I think he's better and as much almost as exciting. You could say he has some privilege. I still feel like he had a decent road too. I don't think. I mean they put him they put him against a 6'3" dude. Like come on. I'd be fine with Dana White privilege. I think he's similar to Chimaev a little bit. I don't think him and Chimaev should be in different tiers.
Fair enough. Merab Dvalishvili. I think he's neutral.
I feel like there's a period where he was like teetering near Dana White privilege. At the end of the day, I feel like it was up to him. He just wanted to be active. I feel like he really could have moved up and fought for the other weight at this point. I don't know if he's had intentions to, but I feel like he's deserted at this point and he hasn't. I don't really see that many situations where you put him like that Dana doesn't like him. I feel like he had to work his way up. He had a pretty good. He beat Marlon Moraes, Aldo, Jan, Cejudo, like, come on, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty deserved.
Tom Aspinall. I think, in the beginning he was neutral, but now I think he's kind of Dana White's op.
He's a great fighter, I don't know, dude. I think
Just the treatment that he's getting.
He's beefing with John Jones. I feel like that immediately puts him at Dana's ops. He defended his interim belt. How many times? He defended it once or twice?
It once against Curtis Blades. You shouldn't even have to defend an interim belt if the champ is still available to fight.
Dana doesn't like him, and he has no. I feel like this guy's marketable,
Yeah,
there's no reason why this guy shouldn't be a star.
The fact that Dana's kind of like trashing him now because of the the eye poke thing. They're missing opportunities with these guys in this category, like Demetrius Johnson, like Francis Ngannou, and now like Tom Aspinall. They're so marketable, but the UFC for some reason is just refusing to market them to viewers. It's just costing the UFC at this point. Alex Pereira.
If he was Paddy Pimblett's level of skill, I'd put him at industry plant. He's just so damn good. It's hard to put him there.
Yeah. And, he just has aura. He's marketable.
You would have put him at... I'd put him in Dana White privilege a little bit.
You put him in Dana White privilege?
I would, but keep on going.
So, I feel like he paved his way up in the UFC. Like, they gave him some light guys in the beginning, but then he fought Sean Strickland.
Wasn't his second fight against Strickland, or was that his
I think that was his third fight, because I think he fought Bruno.
Bruno Silva?
Bruno Silva, yeah. And then, he fought his way up
a title shot after 3 wins?
I think the Strickland fight was going to be a title eliminator, since...
Yeah, but a title eliminator after your set. Okay, yeah.
And he did have the history with Adesanya, so it wasn't like it just came out of nowhere. And then he ended up beating Adesanya. But then when he moved up, they didn't give him an instant title shot.
They gave him
Jan Blachowicz.
Who did you pick in that fight?
Privilege. Back then, I was a big Alex fan. I still am. So I really wanted Alex to win. I picked Alex, and he ended up beating Jan Blachowicz.
If I remember, that fight was... the odds were pretty close to fight. That was no joke.
Kind of close too.
Yeah.
He fought his way up to fight Yuri for the belt. Fought his way up to fight Izzy. He was able to defend the belt a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And then they gave him Ankalaev. He got the rematch. He beat Ankalaev.
Yeah, I guess I was hating too much. I think, either A or B I'm fine with.
This guy is Alex Pereira's son. We're talking about Sean Strickland, and I think he's definitely Dana's op. He's a marketing nightmare for the UFC. He's not who they wanted to be.
Really, I feel like it's like a double-edged sword. I feel like he's very marketable, but very unmarketable at the same time. All the rednecks like him. The MAGA community, I feel like big support over there.
When he beat Israel Adesanya, that big upset, that Dana White hated that. Bryce Mitchell, he's definitely Dana's op. I'd even put him, especially after what he said.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd agree.
Might move him towards Sacrificial Lamb just because.
No, you know what? Put him at Sacrificial Lamb.
They gave him Gene Silva.
They gave him Gene Silva and come up Ilya Taporia.
And Josh Emmett as well.
Yeah, you're just glancing over that they gave him Ilya.
Yeah, they did give him Ilya.
But I feel like around the time period when he got lost to Josh Emmett, I feel like the UFC was trying to promote him a little bit. Like with the Kron Gracie fight on a pay-per-view. I don't know. I mean, they gave him Edson Barboza when he was past his prime. They did a little bit of marketing there, but I feel like after a certain amount of time, especially around the Gene Silva period when he started saying crazy shit, they gave him Gene Silva and then they gave him Nurmagomedov. I mean, hence he won, but he wasn't getting favorable matchups other than that Gracie fight.
Yeah, and now I think he's stuck in that position, Sacrificial Lamb.
He's somebody I'm rooting for, man. I hope he does well. I feel like he's a little overhated a little bit. I like some of the stuff he'd be saying about ice and shit.
And he's slowly becoming a fan favorite again.
He's a chill dude. I mean, he makes his own bows. All bro does is hunt and fish. He lives a pretty peaceful lifestyle. He's got a family. He's just a peaceful guy.
Last but not least, Islam Makhachev.
Neutral,
yeah.
I mean, he's probably the GOAT. He's the GOAT without all the John Jones.
I would have
Dana White privilege.
I would have him as my GOAT.
I probably would too.
He's, not had an easy path to the top. He's had to build up a long win streak. They did give him a title shot off of a Bobby Green win.
Oh, wait, I forgot about that.
Now that I think of it, I don't know, because they gave him that off of a Bobby Green win, and then his title fight was in basically home turf. It was in Abu Dhabi, and he's Muslim,
Oh, yeah, against Charles
Oliveira, yeah. I don't know.
He gets Dustin as a defense, and then he gets Moicano. If they gave him Armin, I feel like that take goes out the window. But since, the Moicano thing happened, and the undeserved Poirier title shot, I'd still put him at neutral, though.
Yeah, but I think he just, it's a mix of the UFC really likes him, and he's, promotable for the UFC.
A Dagestani tag.
And he's also kind of someone gotten lucky a little bit. If it weren't for Bilal Muhammad losing to JDM, he wouldn't be
Like
able to move up.
things fell for him a little bit.
Yeah, he's just gotten what he's wanted. He's just kind of gotten lucky. All right, so that was our industry plant tier list.
Hey, let us know how we did.
Let us know how we did. Let us know who you put on this tier list and where, and who's your favorite industry plant. Mine is CM Punk.
Mine's Patty Pimblett. Right off that loss, it was satisfying. It was nice to see my predictions age well. From now on, I retire as a Patty hater. I won.
But yeah, this is our list. Let us know what you think in the comments, and yeah, we'll see you later.